Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Khorne thirsts for more skulls to adorn his skull throne, as Khorne will face off against Kislev in this domination mode matchup. I will be commanding the Khorne forces, and we'll have Happy Puppy on the Kislev side. So for the initial starting armies, it is going to be pretty bare bones for Khorne, as we have an Exalted Bloodthirster and a regular Bloodthirster, both just with their base kit. I mean, the Exalted Bloodthirster, nothing to be bringing on him, just bringing him for that melee fight. And on the ground we have a Chaos Warriors as well as double Cultists of Khorne, both of which have that summon that does bring in the nice little bit of blood letters. So getting a nice additional units on the field when you're kind of starting with just the bare minimum. Always a nice little ability to be bringing. To have that nice little bit of shock and awe. So for the Kislev forces, we do have the Tsar Guard with great weapons looking to hack through that high armor of the Khorne forces, and they'll be running with some Ice Guard with that sword variant. And then we do have some mobility with those winged lancers. And for the hero core, it is going to be double Patriarch, as they are going to be coming in. We have Das Brazier, which does give a nice little bit of replenishment when they are in melee. And the Balalaika of the Arari, giving a nice little buff to that melee defense and melee attack as well. And by our blood is that Kislev army-wide ability. And then for the the Lord, it is going to be an Ice Witch on of Tempest, going to be rolling up on a bear, just like the double Patriarchs in her company. And for the spells, we do have Glacial Blast. We have a Snowflake Pendant, reduces that miscast chance. We have Hailstorm, as well as Swift Wing, nice little buff to that speed and charge bonus as well. And that is going to be in a nice little AoE ability. So bring in a few items on her. Freezing Winds as well is that nice little lore passive, giving that reduction to speed, even slowing down Khorne's already abysmal speed on top of that. But let's get things rolling, as both armies are going to be kind of approaching one another, and both of the objectives, all three of those, going to be taking a little bit of time before they do come online. So it's going to be a little bit of positioning, bringing in the units to help kind of deal with the opposing side, as the Bear Corps is going to be kind of rolling off onto this one flank. Going to be sticking close to those winged lancers, keeping all that mobility nice and center, as the Ice Guard is going to be looking to push up, probably try and get a few shots on to the rangeless Khorne forces, as they are right now. Both of the Exalted Bloodthirster and the Bloodthirster are going to be kind of sitting, just kind of trying to avoid any of that incoming fire if they can, using the terrain here to their advantage. Going to be hugging that far corner. And the Tsar Guard are going to be pushing forward into that objective area. Still have a little bit of time, but they're just getting that forward position as it is. We do have a couple new reinforcements on the way. Bloodletters of Khorne going to be brought in to help deal with those Tsar Guard. Tsar Guard themselves do have 90 armor, so that bonus versus injury and armor piercing will help, and it will kind of mitigate the just the efficiency of the Tsar Guard. Considering they spend a bit more for that armor piercing, so that I can be as efficient into those bloodletters as they will most other chaos forces. Armored Kossars with great weapons going to be coming in as well, with their armor piercing weapon strength, and another unit of the Kossovite Dervishers, as they're going to be bringing in just some more nice quick cap, 92 speed on those guys, looking to potentially overwhelm the Khorne forces, keep them outmaneuvered, and is just going to be more bolstering that Bear Corps, as we bring in another unit of Bloodletters on the way, as some more Wing Lancers coming in from the Kislev side. So lots of mobility, and looking for more of a heavy hit, quick hit with those Bloodletters, trying to just push through that infantry, kind of get into those Ice Guard. Ice Guard are taking some shots in on to the Bloodthirsters, doing a nice little bit of damage there. The cap points are just about to be coming online, as the Kislev forces do have the only unit so far pushed forward into that objective zone. while everything else is just pretty much waiting on the fringes. Ice Guard and the Armored Corsairs now are probably going to be turning their attention to the unarmored Bloodletters, as they're going to be getting that frostbite down on them, minus 30 speed. Going to be slowing them down even more so, because they do have that frostbite on their missile fire with those Ice Guard. Going to be slowing them down, so they aren't going to be able to get quite on in. Cultists of Khorne starting to react now, as the other Bloodletters going to be starting to push forward. One cultist already kind of mixing in with the Tsar Guard, just going to be kind of disrupting them, as we do have that first summon of Bloodletters going to be coming down right behind the Tsar Guard, going to be pushing into those armored Corsairs, going to be shutting them down. The Kosovite Dervisher is going to be charging forth into those Bloodletters, doing a nice bit of damage there, as both of the Bloodletters do dive down themselves. Rest of the units going to be diving in, both of the Patriarchs and that Ice Witch going to be coming in, trying to push back those exalted Bloodthirsters. The second Bloodletters of Khorne summon is also on the field. This time they are going to be trying to push in against, just really break down all of that range unit for the Kislev forces, as the Bloodletters doing a nice bit of damage so far to that Tsar Guard, as well as to these Armored Corsairs, doing a nice bit of good work so far, while the one Bloodthirster has taken a nice decent bit of damage so far, as one of those Wing Lancers is going to be getting pushed back. Both of the kind of mobility units for the Kislev are going to already be popping their army ability, making them unbreakable for the time, so they're going to be able to kind of stick in and just kind of hold down the rest of the forces, as both of the Bloodthirsters now going to be diving down onto that Ice Witch, and both of the Patriarchs kind of a little mucked up with those Bloodletters, but they are going to be turning their attention to those Bloodthirsters now, trying to kind of push them back. 3-on-2, definitely going to be liking those number odds. We do get that Swiftwing going off onto the Ice Witch, though, giving a nice little addition to that speed, helping her pull out all the quicker, and this one Bloodthirster is in a bit of a bad spot. Both of these Patriarchs are able to just continually hound this Bloodthirster, keeping it on the ground, and in the meanwhile, those Ice Guard are going to be able to just continue peppering that one in, as for the time being, Kislev does have this center rank, but on the far flanks, we're going to be seeing a little bit of addition with those Fleshhounds, trying to cap the outside points on both sides for Khorne, trying to get those points up into their favor, while the one Bloodthirster unfortunately is going to be in a bit of a rough spot, going to be slowly disintegrating bit by bit. A nice little bombardment here into these Fleshhounds, as they do push into those Winged Lancers, taking a nice bit of damage against them, but they are going to continue to fight against them, trying to bring down the mobility. Those Fleshhounds definitely do quite well. Down goes the one Bloodthirster, and now the Cultist of Khorne is going to be stuck in with a lot of units surrounding him, but he has done his job for the most part, has already used up his summon, so at this point it's just pretty much just a single entity to just kind of hold things back. But we still have a very healthy Exalted Bloodthirster. Both of the outside points now are going to be in the possession of Khorne. This one is almost there with those Fleshhounds, and as soon as that does happen, those Fleshhounds now are going to be starting to link back up with the main army. That Exalted Bloodthirster trying to get onto that Ice Witch, as both of the Patriarchs were a little ways away, but now both of the Patriarchs are going to be on the pursuit of this Exalted Bloodthirster, looking to try and get on top of him and bring down that big monstrosity. And just kind of take a little spin out, as the Fleshhound's now going to be on the move, trying to get a little bit of flanking into the backline of Kislev, as they have been starting to push things back. We have a Chaos unit, Warrior kind of be pushing into those Armored Corsairs. Winged Lancers, they're trying to hold them back from that point, but Khorne is pushing Kislev back farther and farther, as the reinforcements with these Fleshhounds going to be coming in, mopping up these Tsar Guard and those Winged Lancers, going to be allowing now that Exalted Bloodthirster to dive on forward, with those Bloodletters also going to be getting some damage into those Ice Guard. Well, the Ice Guard doing some nice bit of damage with their range, already using up all of their ammunition, so some good use of those items there. So a few more reinforcements coming, Bloodletters and those Chaos Warriors just trying to take this center point, as the Patriarchs and that Ice Witch are going to have a thing or two to say about that. Kislev is on the move, though. Tsar Guard is going to be looping around, trying to take this undefended third point here. Just going to be using that items on there, but these Bloodletters of Khorne are going to be in response. That is just the regular Tsar Guard, so those armor-piercing bonus versus infantry of the Bloodletters should allow them to trade very nicely, and a nice bombardment here down onto this Chaos Warriors. But with they are going to be taking rather minimal damage with their high armor, and at point blank range, these armored Corsairs going to be taking some nice shots into that Exalted Bloodthirster, just willing it down bit by bit. Cultist Khorne has finally fallen, but the Bloodthirster are now going to be roughing it with those Winged Lancers, as he does pop that the army ability, given that plus 24 melee attack. But the Frostbite going to be going down, slowing them bit by bit, and as the Swift Wing going to be increasing that speed, we're hoping to try and pull out, but these Fleshhounds definitely are going to be holding them back on that. Though the Bloodthirster continuing to take damage, is going to be wanting to kind of get out of here at this point, as both of the Patriarchs are going to be charging in. Khorne is almost on the edge of taking that center point, which will give them all 3 of the total capture points. Bloodthirster trying to evade these Patriarchs, but those Patriarchs having that speed is going to be able to keep him on the ground. Bloodthirster does land a rather nice hit, but he is going to be in a little bit of a rough spot. Definitely going to be wanting to try and pull out, but he doesn't really have anything to really peel off either of these Patriarchs, and now the Ice Witch is going to be kind of getting into the thick of things as well. Diving forth, getting some nice hits off onto that Bloodthirster as he just continues to try and pull his way out and get free. We do have a couple Chaos Warriors going to be coming in to try and screen things out, but it is going to be just enough for that Exalted Bloodthirster to take to the skies once more. And if we swing over onto the far flank, the Sarguard are going to be engaged, but the Bloodletter is going to be trying to prevent that cap, as they are going to be, at least for the time being, preventing too much of that control going towards Kislev, as they're going to be trading rather well into those Sarguard, considering they have that armor piercing. But we do have some units. These Kosovoite Dervishes are going to be coming in, this time peeling off those Fleshhounds, but they are going to be kind of turning their attention probably towards those Bloodletters, as Kislev making a strong push though into the center point, as they're able to push back all of the Khorne forces. We do have a Cultist of Khorne and a Chaos Warrior going to be slowly trudging their way forward to try and recontest that. We do have another summon now, because this is going to be a resurgence of that Cultist, so he's going to be able to get some nice summons on there. So it's not just him, it is also going to be those Bloodletters in his company. Second Cultist on the field as well, so we have 2 more summons going to be trying to take back that center point. But the battle is starting to focus more solely on this third point here, as we have Fleshhounds. We also have Chaos Warriors with dual weapons going to be trying to contest the incoming forces just there with their bonus versus infantry. Just try and push things back and hold that point, as those Fleshhounds a nice charge into those Kosovite Dervishes, and they will trade very, very well into those guys. Already popping that Kislev army ability, and they are going to be reinforced though by some Winged Lancers, as the Chaos Warriors of Khorne going to be coming in to support and trying to just hold this point for as long as they can. As they kind of slow things down just for that nice little charge. While in the center ranks, most of the forces have now kind of pushed off trying to take that third point. Well, that is going to be leaving some very beat down Kislev forces to deal with a resurgence of the Cultists of Khorne, as they're going to be charging on forward, surely going to be using their summons to kind of try and pin them in and break these guys as quickly as they can. Chaos Warriors of Khorne also going to be here to help kind of contest that point, as there is the first summon going to be dropped down right behind these Sarguard, as they're going to be kind of returning and getting that armor piercing right into the rears of them, as that Exalted Bloodthirsters are also going to be diving down, just sandwiching all of these units for Kislev. We do have some Kosovite Dervishes going to be coming in to try and just kind of hold things back while we kind of take a look back to see how things are going on that third point. The Patriarch and the Ice Witch are doing some nice work, taking down these Fleshhounds and pushing back those Chaos Warhounds, which were very short-lived, as they did try and charge forward, giving a little bit of extra mass. But things are looking a little bit stronger for Kislev here in this flank. The only thing really left here is going to be those Chaos Warriors, and they are getting very, very beat down, as it looks like the rest of the units, they are all going to end up routing, and there is going to be no reinforcements in sight. But unfortunately, with the taking of that third point for Kislev, they are going to be losing out on the center point once again, as it's just the charge of all of these Bloodletters going to be really pushing forward and just taking down all of those infantry very, very quickly. We do have a couple more Fleshhounds though, can be coming back for some nice quick mobility on the Khorne side, looking to just kind of hold things back at this point, as some of those Fleshhounds has pushed forward, getting onto these Kossars with spears. They will still do fairly well. However, the Sarguard are going to be able to really kind of chunk through those Fleshhounds, but they are going to really need to push hard into that center point, as Khorne is pushing farther and farther in the lead. That first point still pretty much uncontested. Everything focused on 3 and 2 for the battle, as all of these Fleshhounds going to be charging forward, trying to just prevent any assistance being given to the immediate center point, and just holding them back as long as they can, because the longer they hold them back, it is going to be forcing Kislev to attempt to at least try and take 3 points. Exalted Bloodthirsters are still alive for the time being. Patriarchs are just kind of been roaming the field, really kind of keeping that Bloodthirster at bay. Fleshhounds doing some nice work against those Coast Fight Dervishes, and the Wing Lancers charging in as well into the thick of things. A kind of hammer and anvil as some more Wing Lancers going to be charging on forward. And we're getting a little bit of slowdown here from some use of some army abilities, but that is going to be just something we're going to have to kind of deal with on that, as it kind of automatically does that on the replay. But things are just, at this point, Khorne's just holding things back. This Kislev just staying away from that second point. They're just throwing bodies at them, just kind of just keeping everything away from that. And I think at this point, even if Kislev is able to take this second point, they still have to contest with that third point. It does look like we have some units trying to move their way over there, those Ghost Fight Dervishes. I just don't know if they have the time to fully cap 2 points, as they're going to need all 3 to kind of carry through to the end of this fight. Winged Lancers just sandwiching all of these Khorne forces, but Khorne is able to just kind of hold everything back. There's a ton of mobility right now for Kislev here, as the Sarguard pushing forward, just trying to get to that second point, as both of these cultists just trying to kind of just distract them if they can, as the Exalted Bloodthirster just kind of cleaning up some of the range units. But it's going to be taking now some range fire up from these Kossars with spears, and it's just kind of slowly whittling him down bit by bit. But I think at this point, that is going to be it. Khorne is going to be victorious, as they do hold the caps for just long enough. Kislev was definitely making some strong pushes into that center rank, and they did have that third point pretty much under wraps. Let's take a look at that after battle report here, and let's kind of see how things did fare in both the starting armies and in the reinforcements. So for Khorne, with their starting army, the Exalted Bloodthirster, unfortunately, was only able to get 1,600, but he was able to stay alive, unlike that Bloodthirster counterpart, which did get taken down by those 2 Patriarchs, who did very well kind of running with that Ice Witch. Not a whole lot of value between all 3 of them, just 1,000 apiece, but just that very strong ground presence that was constantly kind of healing themselves up bit by bit. Definitely very strong there. Both of the Cultists, though, were able to get 1,000 just in terms of their melee capabilities. Their summons as well were very useful, because we were able to use 2 on each of those, because they were able to be resummoned back to the battlefield with that additional summon. Chaos Warriors are doing rather well, 961. As for the Kislev starting army, the Ice Guard with swords did exceptionally well, 2673, firing in on those Bloodthirsters, and just their melee as well. They did very, very well. The Sarguard only 905, and the Winged Lancers 709. For the reinforcements on both sides, we did get some nice value from those Chaos Warriors with those dual weapons, taking that third point, doing some nice bit of damage there. We did bring a couple more halberds, but neither of which were going to be needed. Pretty much going for more of the quicker mobility, as both of these Bloodletters did some pretty decent work. Chaos Warriors as well, but kind of the big victory here is going to be with those Fleshhounds of Khorne. These guys got 1,500, 1,700 on those guys, and then 1,400 and 486 on that last one. So tons of value from that mobility on the Khorne side. Really able to trade very well into most of the units on the Kislev roster. And then we had those Warhounds, which did not last very long in that fight. As for the Kislev reinforcements, did some decent work there. Nice, lots of mobility for the most part. And the Winged Lancers did rather well, 1343 on those guys. And then the rest of the units, one of the Star Guard getting some nice value, almost 1,400 on them. And then otherwise just kind of a even spread kind of throughout some of the other units, not all of which were even brought on to the table for the fight. But that is going to be it. A fun fight between Khorne and Kislev on the new Domination multiplayer game mode. But without further ado, we are going to close things off. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.